Okay, so we've all been there, right? You get a big crack in your windshield, and suddenly that Safelite jingle pops into your head.
It's like they're permanently ingrained in our collective consciousness.
I know, right? They're everywhere.
Pretty much synonymous with auto glass repair at this point.
But today we're taking a deep dive into some pretty serious accusations against this industry giant,
Allegations of fraud.
potentially affecting over 1 million vehicles.
And it gets pretty wild.
So buckle up, because this is going to be a bumpy ride.
We're not just talking about a few isolated incidents here either.
Right.
We're looking at legal complaints filed in both California and Illinois.
Okay, so
Wow.
this is getting serious.
Yeah, this suggests a pattern of behavior.
Like a systemic approach to, maximizing profits.
Exactly, and it all revolves around this tiny little part that most people wouldn't even think twice about, the molding.
The molding.
Yeah, that rubber strip that seals the windshield to the car frame?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Seems pretty basic, right?
Right.
But that's where the alleged deception begins.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, moldings are actually more critical than most people realize.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They prevent leaks, reduce wind noise, and even play a crucial role in passenger safety during a collision.
Huh. Never thought about that.
And the complaints allege that Safelite exploited this often overlooked part to, well, pad their profits.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. There are different types of moldings, right?
Exactly. You've got OEM, which are made by the car manufacturer,
Right.
aftermarket made by third-party companies,
Yep.
and then something called universal moldings.
So those are like one size fits all?
Pretty much they're designed to fit a wider range of vehicles.
Okay, so what's the difference between all these types?
Quality and cost.
I bet I know where this is going.
OEM tends to be the priciest, followed by aftermarket, with universal being the cheapest option.
Let me guess. Safelite was allegedly using the cheap universal moldings, but billing insurance companies for the more expensive OEM or aftermarket parts.
You got it.
It's like a bait and switch.
Exactly. The allegation is that Safelite technicians, often untrained in proper molding selection, preferred the universal moldings.
Because they're easier to install.
You got it. They're quick and easy, regardless of whether they were the right choice for the vehicle.
And to make matters worse, the complaints allege that Safelite's computer system was rigged to mask this whole cost-cutting maneuver.
That's right. It appears their system was designed to automatically swap billing codes, charging for the more expensive parts, even when they were using the cheap universal ones.
So it's like ordering a filet mignon, getting served a hamburger, but still getting slapped with the filet mignon bill.
A perfect analogy.
This is outrageous. So where's the proof? Do we have specific examples of this billing code manipulation?
Absolutely. The legal complaints cite numerous instances. Take invoice number 229967 for a 2016 Toyota RV4.
Okay.
It shows a charge of $157.05 for an OEM molding. However, the whistleblower, who we'll discuss later, alleges that they actually used Fleximold Safelite's internal term for universal molding.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's one case. But is this a widespread practice or just an isolated incident?
It doesn't stop there. Invoice 154185 for a 2019 Subaru Forester billed $59.10 for an OEM molding. But again, Fleximold was allegedly used.
Okay. Starting to see a pattern here.
And just to drive the point home, invoice 568839, a 2000 Toyota Tundra was charged $29.06 for an aftermarket molding. Guess what they actually used?
Fleximold. I'm sensing a theme.
It seems like Safelite was systematically cutting corners and misleading both insurance companies and their own customers.
And there's another layer to this that makes it even worse.
Oh, yeah.
The NEGS database, which is like the industry standard for auto glass parts pricing, doesn't even list universal moldings as a legitimate replacement option.
You're right. They're not even recognized by the industry's own pricing guide.
So they were billing for parts that aren't even supposed to be used.
It certainly raises some serious questions about their business practices and ethical standards.
It seems like they're operating outside the accepted norms of the industry to the detriment of everyone but their own bottom line.
Exactly.
So how did this scheme come to light? Who dared to challenge this auto glass giant, and what happened when they did? That's what we'll dive into the next part of our deep dive.
Introducing AirPro Diagnostics' revolutionary calibration technology, Augie. AirPro Diagnostics' latest innovation is a game-changer in forward-facing camera ADAS calibrations. Augie is a wireless compact device that allows you to calibrate vehicles anywhere. AirPro has created a theater-like environment to digitize and miniaturize static ADAS targets and present them to the forward-facing camera exactly as required by vehicle manufacturers. Find out how required calibrations can be simplified. Order your Augie today.
So we've got this potential pattern of fraudulent behavior, but who uncovered all of this?
Well, the whistleblower in this case is Brian Williams,
Okay.
a former product development and strategy manager at Safelite.
So he was an insider.
Yeah, by all accounts, a model employee.
Mm.
He even received multiple awards for his contributions to the company.
So what changed? What made him suspicious?
Well, in 2019, something just didn't sit right with him.
What tipped him off?
He was going through Safelite's purchase and sales records, and the numbers just weren't adding up.
In what way?
He noticed a huge discrepancy in the amount of universal molding being purchased compared to what was actually being billed to customers.
Oh, so they were buying way more than they could possibly be using.
Way more, even if you factored in every windshield replacement they performed.
That's a big red flag.
It definitely raised some eyebrows.
So what did he do next?
Well, Williams is not one to shy away from a challenge.
Clearly.
He dug deeper, analyzed audit logs' back-end data, and what he found was startling.
Really?
It seemed Safelite's system was intentionally designed to obscure the use of universal moldings.
Wow. So this wasn't just an oversight.
It looks like a deliberate act of concealment.
That's a serious accusation. Did he have any evidence to back this up?
Well, he went straight to the source, a Safelite mainframe developer who confirmed that this practice had been going on for over 2 decades.
2 decades. That's a long time.
Imagine 20 years of allegedly misleading customers and insurance companies.
That's crazy. So armed with this knowledge, what did Williams do?
He confronted the higher-ups, presented his findings to Steve Mego, the chief operating officer of Safelite Autoglass.
And how did Migo react?
Initially, he seemed receptive, encouraged Williams to keep digging, gather more concrete evidence.
So he was taking it seriously.
At least at first, Williams even met with John Carty, the senior vice president at Safelite Solutions.
Wait, Safelite Solutions, isn't that the part of Safelite that handles claims for insurance companies?
They essentially act as a third-party administrator for insurance companies.
So the very companies they're allegedly defrauding.
Yeah, it's a pretty big conflict of interest.
It's like the fox guarding the hen house.
Exactly. So Williams brought this to Carty's attention, hoping for some real action.
And
According to the complaints, Carty acknowledged the problem but stated that Safelite had no intention of compensating insurance companies for past overbilling.
so they admitted to it, but weren't going to do anything about it.
That's essentially what he was saying.
Wow. What happened to Williams after he blew the whistle?
Well, it wasn't pretty.
I mean,
In March 2020, right at the peak of the COVID pandemic,
oh no.
Williams was furloughed for 4 months without pay.
Seriously.
That's terrible.
And to add insult to injury, he was then informed by a colleague that he was going to be terminated.
So they tried to silence him. It certainly seems that way.
But he didn't back down, did he?
Not at all. In the end, he wasn't fired, but he was transferred to a different role, reporting to Dan Olano.
Who's Dino Lano?
Well, according to the complaints, he's the executive who allegedly orchestrated the entire molding scheme years earlier.
So they put him right under the person he accused.
It's like they were trying to bury him within the organization.
But Williams didn't give up, did he?
No, he kept pushing for change, even tried to engage Lano in discussions about fixing the billing issue.
How did that go?
Not well. According to the complaints, he was met with threats and told to drop it.
So even after risking his career to expose this alleged fraud, Safelite just kept going.
That's what the complaints allege.
It seems profits were more important than ethical conduct.
And the systemic nature of this scheme, the lengths they went to conceal it all, paints a troubling picture.
It really does. So what happens next? How does this story end? It's mind-blowing. We're talking over 1 million vehicles potentially affected by this scheme.
And over 13,850 in California alone, just in 2019 and 2020.
This isn't just a few bad apples. This is like systematic.
Absolutely. The financial implications are huge.
I bet if Safelite was overcharging for moldings on even a small fraction of those vehicles, we're talking millions of dollars.
Potentially even tens of millions in fraudulent profits.
And all that money has to come from somewhere, right? Who ends up paying for this?
Well, on the surface, it's the insurance companies who are directly hit.
Right.
But those costs inevitably get passed down the line.
So
Exactly. Higher premiums, increased deductibles. It all trickles down to the consumers.
So even if you've never used Safelite, you could still be feeling the impact of this alleged fraud.
That's right.
It's crazy how this could go on for so long undetected. Was there no oversight, no accountability?
That's the big question, and it brings us back to Safelite Solutions.
Right, the ones who are supposed to be investigating fraud for insurance companies.
But at the same time, allegedly engaging in fraudulent practices themselves.
Yeah. It's a huge conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So are any of the insurance companies aware of this? Did they suspect anything?
It's unclear. The complaints allege that Safelite Solutions actively worked to conceal their practices.
Covering your tracks, basically.
Exactly. And to make matters even more complicated, Safelite's contract with Geico, their biggest client, used to include discounts on parts.
Okay.
But that contract isn't in effect anymore.
So now Geico, with all their claims, is allegedly being charged full price for moldings, even though they might be getting the cheap universal ones?
It really highlights how a company can use its...
It's a good reminder that we can't just blindly trust big companies, even those with familiar names and catchy jingles.
We have to be informed, vigilant, and hold them accountable.
This deep dive into the Safelite allegations has really exposed a lot.
Corporate greed, alleged deception, a system that seems ripe for exploitation.
It leaves us with a lot to think about.
Definitely. How widespread are these practices in the auto repair industry? What can be done to protect consumers and ensure ethical conduct? And most importantly, what will it take to restore trust in a system that seems to prioritize profits over people?
It's a story that deserves our attention, and we encourage everyone to stay informed and advocate for transparency and accountability. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
So I got into the industry when I was little. My dad always took me to work. We are a windshield replacement company. A lot of people don't realize, but a windshield is a big part of the structural integrity of the vehicle. There's a big problem that we have in our industry, which is the adhesive can separate from the pinch weld, or it could also separate from the glass. So I create a lot of safety videos on TikTok, YouTube, as well as making a lot of new posts on Pinterest. I really like making sure that all my customers are up to date with the knowledge that we possess. We want to make sure we share it with them. One of the things I love about Sika products is that they have so many different variations of chemicals that you can use to properly apply towards the body and the glass to make sure you have a proper installation. They back up everything. They have crash tests. They have safety videos. They have so much information that actually is there for consumers and as well as technicians like ourselves. We have always used Sika products, and now we're using the best product out there, which is Sika Ultimate. It is a 30-minute minimum driver wait time adhesive. The good thing about it, it's primerless to glass. You apply it onto the body or you apply it onto the glass, and you're able to install it right away. You just wait your 30 minutes for it to cure, and then you're able to release the vehicle to the customer. I stay strictly to the Sika products because I know it's been tested and certified. To anyone, to everyone, whether you're a small family business or a large corporation that's international, I would strongly recommend Sika Ultimate to them.